Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and I know we have host Sis Sahida online.
Rise and shine, everybody. And peace and love.
Tonight is Thursday, October 22nd, and we have a great show planned for you tonight. So be a little patient with this family. I see where folks are dropping on and off, so I see they want to start clowning quite early tonight. But we're going to get through it. So tonight we're going to pick back up where we left off on the creation story myths. We are on, is this either the 6th or the 7th show on that? Now I didn't forget which one it is. But we will be exploring the Terra Papers, the Holy Tablets by Dr. Malachi York, as well as the Book of Enoch and then the Book of Enki. So I'm really excited about that. So we're going to bring Brother Wendell on in a minute once we finish weekly news. Okay, family, so here we go. Okay, last week we discussed, and welcome back, sis. I know you was off last week, so welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, so last week we did a show on what does the Battle of Armageddon look like, and if you didn't get a chance to check that one out, it is on YouTube. We brought a lot of good information to that show to let you know what is currently going on, the signs that let you know that we are currently in the Battle of Armageddon. And one of those signs, of course, was the weather. So again, this week we have in the weather two things. Earlier this week they had a bunch of mudslides in California. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, really, really bad mudslides. And then right before I went on the air, I saw that there is a typhoon heading Japan's way. And they said the size of the typhoon is huge. Wow. So they are predicting that the typhoon will bypass Japan. So we shall see. But I also saw something else stating that the earthquake activity, as far as the meters that read the level of earthquake activity underground, is off the charts. They were basically saying almost every earthquake fault line is currently active. So again, family, that goes back to what we've been discussing about what does the Battle of Armageddon look like, and this is tied directly to prophecy. So just pay attention to what's going on, and also with the weather. We've talked several times on this show, as well as Dr. Henderson has spoken of, that the weather patterns is also directly linked to Nibiru coming in our orbit space as well.
To add to that, sis, I'm looking at an article, it's a short YouTube video, and it's talking about the radiation sensors in major U.S. cities turned off by the EPA.
Girl, stop.
Which monitors all 50 states, and so they saying that they don't work no more.
Oh, so it don't work, or they turned it off because they don't want to measure the level of radiation.
Yep. Yep. Because it's probably off the blicker if this Nibiru is coming in and this disrupting a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. And in the Holy Tablets, when I was getting caught up this week, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get to the Holy Tablets tonight, they were talking about how the radiation levels was really the main reason that destroyed after the war, the galactic war that broke off. That was one of the main things that destroyed planet Risk, their ozone layer, or their atmosphere. Yeah.
That they were trying to repair.
Yep. And how they came here to get the gold, yada, yada, yada. So that's interesting. And so once we get to the tablets, we'll be going over that. And specifically speaking of Nibiru and the tablets, we're at the point where Dr. York in the tablets, I mean, down to the detail level, described the ship Nibiru. And I'm like, wow. So hopefully we'll get to that tonight too. So a lot of stuff we got to cover as usual. So okay, so real quick, family, I so happened to run across Minister Farrakhan did a follow-up on his Million Man March thing, and the reason I want to discuss it because Bobby Kennedy Jr. was on the follow-up. He did a follow-up via video to this broadcast that went out on the air. And so basically Bobby Kennedy Jr. was pretty much admitting how the vaccinations has mercury in them. And he went so far as to say, I almost fell out my chair and spit out my little coffee, that they are purposely targeting the melanated neighborhoods, and the vaccination with mercury end up in the melanated neighborhoods.
You better know it.
Yeah, so I was just shocked to hear him get that specific, because it's one thing to say, it's vaccination. The vaccinations are poison. They have mercury in it. We've heard, people say that before, but for him to come out and say that they're purposely ending up in the melanated neighborhoods, that's huge. So
I had personal experience with it. I had personal experience with it. My mother took a flu shot and she almost went up out of here.
What?
Yeah, it just shut her muscles down. It went all through her body, and she felt it. She said immediately when that shot went in, it was like it went all over, And I'm like, yeah, because she got to the point where she couldn't move her arms. She couldn't dress herself and take care of herself for a moment,
Wow.
But she's fully recovered.
I'd
like to say that all praise is due to y'all. She is fully recovered.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, also, Bobby Kennedy Jr. in the video was saying that there was a whistleblower at the CDC. His name is Dr. Thomas, and he went before Congress and he gave information on the vaccines having mercury, and he even gave the link to it causing autism.
Yeah.
And he even told them how the CDC was told to lie to the public and tell them how the vaccines are safe. And this Dr. Thomas even went a step further and said that melanated children were impacted the most. Specifically, melanated boys. And so the same Dr. Thomas, the whistleblower at the CDC, said, so of course Congress didn't do a MF thing about it. And so he is calculating that had they would have acted and did the right things, it could have saved 100,000 melanated boys from getting autism.
That is awful.
It's sickening. And so Bobby Kennedy Jr. went on to say that he looks at today's vaccinations as the same as the Tuskegee experiments that were done back in the day.
Yep.
So I thought that was a pretty bold update, and quite frankly, another sis kind of told me this, and I'm agreeing with her that really this is the public disclosure on vaccinations.
It really is.
Yeah. So take heed. Tell your family. Go on YouTube. Get that video, and you put it before them so people can stop vaccinating their children and vaccinating themselves. So that's our public warning, folks.
Right. It's a global warning also, galactic even.
Absolutely. I would tend to agree with you because although our master teachers have been telling us that for decades, the Dr. Phil Valentine, the Dr. Gilbert Blair, and Bobby Hemmett, and many others have been telling us for decades, but they were conspiracy theorists. And now consider ourselves warned.
Yep.
Okay.
Consider it.
So the only other thing on the update that I found interesting is that the quote Native Americans again started talking about the land theft that took place, and they were calling out the fake founding fathers. And this one particular Native American, I do want to give them credit. He even called out the Native American community, or those that are calling themselves Native Americans, calling them out for denying the melanated people as being Native Americans. So I found that interesting as well. And he went as far as to say 85% of melanated people have Native American blood. So, of course, we know it's really the opposite.
Exactly.
They have our blood, but whatever. And he let the white community or Caucasian folks know. He said, and 40% of you all have melanated blood running through your system. So right. So I thought that was a pretty good follow up to Farrakhan's Million Man March. The important message definitely was the disclosure, the clear disclosure given on the vaccinations, and again about the indigenous people, Native Americans, talking again about land and how everybody is coming for their land. So again, I'll keep watching to see what Brother Farrakhan does. Hopefully he does link up with Dr. Henderson so they can really be on the right page to get everything turned back over in its proper place.
Yeah, and everybody has a place.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it is determined by the works of your hand and what is in your heart. I want to say that. So that people won't get thrown off by the truth because it's stranger than fiction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Sis Linda, Sis Denise, and Sis Beverly had a powerful show on Monday. I got a chance to listen to the playback, and they really got into specifics about land and, you know, rights and how the trickery was done. And, you know, they even brought up and discussed in detail, I think they did an excellent job talking about these quote sovereign groups that are running around claiming that they are the new republic and this, that, and the third. They even laid that out very well and made clear what is happening. So I encourage the family to go take a listen to that call as well. It is on YouTube, so we can enter and understand what we talked about last week on the Battle of Armageddon. It is about land.
Yeah.
Who controls the land controls the people. That's what it's about. That's what this Battle of Armageddon is about on the physical front. On the spiritual front, it's a battle for souls.
Absolutely.
It's the releasing of the souls. Let my people go.
Yep.
So pay attention on the physical front. When you keep hearing folks talk about land, when you keep hearing folks talk about economic slavery, that is all a part of the prophecy and of the Battle of Armageddon. And it is hitting the old system. It's hitting them from every side. Every morning they wake up, they're getting slapped with another group rising up, waking up, saying, you got us so-and-so twisted. We're not going to take this anymore.
Yes.
Because this is the time that we are living in. We are living out Revelations.
Yeah. And you got to wait on it. It's right here.
Yep. It's right here, front and center.
Yes.
So the other thing in the news, Brother Putin of Russia, shoot, he's still making it do what it do. Supposedly this week, Russia and the U.S. court signed an agreement regulating military operations in Syria. And so, and I'm getting this out of RT News. This came about Tuesday. And it says that the deal is aimed at preventing incidents and providing for the smooth operations of two nations' aircrafts. And the agreement is named MOU, Memorandum of Mutual Understanding. So soon as I saw that, I said, so the agreement is named that. Well, I remember Dr. Henderson always talks about MOUs and knowing your customer documents. So I found that language pretty interesting.
Telling, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in the little article, it went on to say a little further down, Russia's defense minister states, quote, the memorandum is strictly military and technical. And its signing does not change Russia's principal position, which is that its militarily is acting in Syria on the behalf of Syria at the request of legitimate authorities, whereas the use of force in one's country territory by another country without its authorities' agreement or a ruling by the UN Security Council is against international law. So, in other words, what the Russia's defense minister came out and say, yeah, U.S. Corp signed this agreement, yada, yada, yada. But let's be clear. Right. Syria is our ally. Syria's best interest is what Russia is supporting. And we are going to protect Syria's best interest and make sure that the U.S. Corp or anybody else is not violating that country's territory or violating international law.
That's right.
So, again, we discussed that last week on how important Syria is in the Battle of Armageddon. It is ground zero. So keep paying attention what's going on there, because Putin is holding that area pretty strong, and he's basically shut down that ISIS activity. And that's just code, folks, for us winning the Battle of Armageddon. Okay, so pay attention what's going on in Syria, and how you'll notice the U.S. court trying to move other military actions right around the border of Syria, whether it be Afghanistan or Iraq or Israel. You see those areas flaring up. That is still all part of the Battle of Armageddon, them trying to control that area. And as we discussed when we were reading through the Book of Enoch, you know why? Because back in the day, during Enoch's time, that's where the fallen angels were hiding and chilling out.
Thank you, and they is still there today.
Yeah, chilling. So, again, this is about land. It is about land in the physical form, and in the spiritual form, these entities, the fallen angels, their time are up. The pit awaits.
Yes.
So that's what this is about, family.
Yep.
Okay, so what else we got on the news front? I think we're almost done. Oh!
I got something.
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
This is coming from a site called the Galactic Connection. It says, Cash gives 10-day notice to all nations of Earth, October 26th. That's the date they give. You know, we try not to do dates, but however. It says, and this is short, if you missed the live stream historic free energy announcement given Friday by the Cash Foundation, this video is the Cliff Notes version. World leaders were given a 10-day heads up to what's coming. The global release and distribution of patented plasma-based free energy knowledge and technology into the public domain. Mr. Cash has just warned Spaceship Earth of yet another imminent world-shattering event. According to the Fair Use Clause, International Copyright. Oh, no, that's something. Yeah, but that was basically it. There's going to be a release of some technology, it appears.
Well, it would surely be nice, and that's interesting that you say that because, shoot, I can't think of dude's name. Ooh, and it's bugging me. Oh, dude from Halliburton. Halliburton is the crooked company that Cheney was the CEO over, and they've been involved in a lot of scandals. They got a lot of the military contracts in Iraq illegally, no bid contracts, but they are also heavily invested in oil. It doesn't make it. I mean, it makes sense because they're part of that whole good old boys club tied to the Bushes and the Rockefeller, this and the third. So
Absolutely.
anyhow, the Halliburton CEO was quoted as saying this week in the news that the oil is pretty much dead. And I looked at that and I fell out laughing.
Oh, wait.
So, again, like Sis just said, there's technology, alternative technology that far outweighs what we're on today. They're really holding us back in the dark ages as far as technology in general, and especially from an energy sector perspective, because really we don't have to run on fossil fuel, nor should we have to pay for energy. We can use Mama Earth's natural energy field to get what we need. So it doesn't surprise me. All of those oil companies and corrupt ones, they already know, because they dumped their oil stocks last year. They're not even invested in oil anymore. They already know what it is. So that makes sense what you're saying, Sis. That makes a lot of sense. The only other two things I had, and I'm going to make them real quick. One of them was in the state of Ohio, they are delaying executions until 2017. Now, this is the excuse they gave. I about fell out. Because there is a drug shortage for
my God.
Yeah, the execution drug, the drug, execution drug cocktail that they use. They're going to come out and say that it was a shortage again.
You know what?
The game family. Go ahead, Sis.
You don't really have to have a drug, If you really is going to be killing somebody, it's so many different ways to do that, okay? So that is definitely an excuse. And it also clearly shows us that there's a change coming.
Exactly. Because what's happening is, family, keep game. These people that are holding these positions, as Dr. Henderson has been telling us all along, the judges, the lawyers, all the way down to the sheriff's office, the heads of the police, the jail, they've been put on notice already that they have no more authority.
That's right.
So those that are smart are like, hold up. I'm not, I ain't finna keep doing that. I don't want my name attached to it. I need to stop. So I'm going to come out with this little excuse and let that be that. But I don't want no executions to go up under my watch after I didn't receive this letter from the World Court saying I don't have no authority. So that's what that is about. Last week we talked about, it was either last week or the week before, a judge in Georgia stopping garnishments.
Wow.
He shut down garnishments. So again, pay attention when you see these things in the news. Either they're flat out just not making an excuse, because in the case of the judge in Georgia, he said it's unconstitutional and it's illegal to garnish people wages, and therefore he's shutting it down. He's a federal judge.
Oh, wow, yes. Shut that down.
Yeah. And so now you have this dude, or whoever this is, making this decision. I'm assuming it's the governor of Ohio. They're delaying executions until 2017.
Okay.
Well, good for you.
Okay.
Good for you for not wanting you to be held accountable for that. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
So pay attention, family.
Yeah.
The only last thing that I saw that I wanted to point out real quick, I had wrote up a dissertation on it, but we're not going to have time to go over it. I'll go over it some other time. But I saw in the news where they convicted a former U.S. drug agent of fraud for stealing Bitcoins. Yes. And so they're saying that the fraud goes back to 2013. So one of these days, I'm not going to do it this week, maybe next week, I will go over for the family the origins of the Bitcoin and the whole timeline behind it, and to show you how it was really a battle, because what the Bitcoins was trying to do was, and anybody that don't know what a Bitcoin is, it is an electronic currency. So they were basically replacing paper money or using the Fed Reserve and using this Bitcoin to trade for goods and services, and it was happening online. So it started in the tech community because a tech person developed it, and it started gaining traction and getting real popular. And then once the stores came online and started accepting it, all of a sudden that's when the Trade Commission and all of them wanted to get involved, and it was a whole big mess. So bottom line,
didn't the lady get killed for trying that?
Yeah, and that's it was supposedly the CEO got killed behind it. Supposedly she committed suicide, supposedly and allegedly. But I did even a little more digging, and it appears they're even lying about who was really the CEO, because I don't even think it was that lady that was the CEO.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been some shady stuff behind it. But it was basically another system trying to come online to bypass the dollar, and of course the Fed Reserves and their henchmen stepped in, started bumping people off, killing people, and then shut it down for a little bit. And then when they saw people were going to still wanted to use it, that's when they started putting regulations around it. So here's the thing. No, we might as well discuss it. I'm at the end now. A federal judge named Amos Mazart of the Eastern District of Texas ruled that Bitcoins are a currency or form of money per the subject of the court's jurisdiction. So that was back in August of 2013, and this was when all this battling was going on, folks dying and all of that. Of course, Texas, being who they are, was like, well, in the state of Texas, we rule it as a currency. How about that? So then it made it around the world.
That Lone Star State, girl.
Exactly. Because remember, they are their own nation. They always have been. So then it went around the world. The Germany finance minister recognized it as a unit of account, but they didn't go so far as to declare it a currency. And so they decided they wanted to tax it. And so then by September of 2014, that's when they started putting all of these regulations on it. Okay, so that's the history of Bitcoin. So I found it interesting that they dropped that little story in there about that federal agent, or whoever the heck he was, DEA agent, whatever he was, getting convicted of Bitcoin fraud. And I bring that up to I say all that to say that just goes to show you how they infiltrate stuff. Because here this currency was minding its business. People was the tech people was there trading, doing their thing, and then when it became popular, that's when all of the drama jumped off. People died. And then out of the shakeout, out of all of this former DEA agent gets convicted of fraud. You think I'm Willie Lump Lump? Y'all planted dudes there. You planted them there to infiltrate. And as most of them DEA, CIA, alphabet boys do, they get greedy and they start skimming off the top.
Yep. Skimming.
So,
can't be satisfied at all.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the story that went on with Bitcoin's family. So I know a lot of people have asked about Bitcoins. They have asked me my opinion of Bitcoins. I'm not a fan because they've corrupted it a long time ago. And anything that has to do with the alphabet boys slapping regulations and taxes on it, you're still under the same 501c3 system. It's still something that they can control, and they would love for all of us to today start using Bitcoin so they can prop it up as a new monetary system.
Right.
Okay, so just be aware of that. That's my opinion of it. It was cool when I heard about it many years ago, but just like every this current system, they have grabbed control of that as well. So
they're stretching. They really stretching it.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, they scrambling. Whether it be weird things,
to try to keep their revenues going, but it's
because they know the system is over. They know people have peaked game on their little fiat, so now they're just trying to find a way to spin up a new system to trick the people. Because I saw something else on Weird Bank, and I was just so disgusted I didn't even go into it reading it. So yeah, they're definitely trying hard to find another monetary system to fool the people behind. So just be careful. Just sit still and just wait for us, to get our instructions on coming up under the new 501c4.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, all right, sis. I think I see Brother Wendell. Let me bring him on so we can get started. I think this is you, brother. My memory. Brother, are you there?
Yeah, no country bumping is here.
How you doing tonight?
I reckon I'm all right. Yeah, country sack happy about that. That was a real good news segment right there.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you much. There's so much going on. I literally have to stop it because we would be the whole show doing news and then wouldn't get to our other research. So
we need that. We need that news now.
Yeah, we do. We do. So I try my best to, sis and I try our best to pick the highlights to, let the family know what to look for and what to pay attention to.
Yeah, so. that's a good thing. That you
brother, you're gonna have to mute your background.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
That's a good thing that you talked about going on in Georgia with the garnishment.
Yes, that's in Gwinnett. That's in Gwinnett County.
Yeah.
The federal judge. Okay. Yep. Oh, that's right, sis. I know you know Georgia too. Yeah, that was in Gwinnett County. He shut it down. Matter of fact, he sent the order over to the clerk.
Yeah.
Told her shut it down. No more.
Hey, they're running scared.
You know what? In their defense, all that's paying attention, good for them.
Yeah. Now go ahead and finish the job.
Good for the absolute, because let me get a letter from the International World Court telling me I don't have no more power, this, that, and the third, and consequences are going to be had if you do. I will be on that phone so quick. Now you say what?
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
What,
Yeah.
what you want me to? You want me to shut the door and lock it and turn the lights out?
exactly. Now, what files do you need my staff to provide you?
Yeah, like
Right.
I said, they need to go on and finish the job and step down and get out of the way and then tell the people what's really going on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's the only way. That's the only way out.
That's all they got.
And but
Ain't
you
no
know
back
what
door.
I think? You know what I think that's going on, y'all? I think most of them are, like dude in Ohio that shut down the executions, and then dude in Georgia to stop the garnishments. I think what they're doing, they're sitting as lame ducks because they still want to collect their little check.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sitting as lame ducks to get their check, and then when stuff break out, they gonna be, come on in. Just come on in, do what y'all need to do. The staff, help them get this material together.
Okay.
So I think that's what a lot of them are doing. They're sitting as lame ducks.
Yeah. Another little tidbit that we can add to that news also is I was talking to my cousin the other day, and he let me know they've been releasing prisoners in the state of Tennessee. And I reminded him, I said, now you see what I told you about? I said, they don't have a choice.
Because you know, press sign that mandate for the federal prison, because a lot of people got those mandatory sentencings.
Yeah.
So they're going back, trying to clean up a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they know they already know what's coming down the pipeline, because George Mario signed that, I forget what you call it specifically. Where
the discovery, Doctrine of Discovery?
Was that it?
No.
No, the one where he sent out telling them that you have no more authority and that we're not going to back you anymore.
I think that was a Doctrine of Discovery.
Okay, I keep forgetting the name. I've been looking for the document because somebody else asked me for the actual document. I'll have to, you know how Facebook is. You can't find stuff anymore. So, so he had already sent that, telling them that they have no more authority and that under the Vatican or the 501c3 that they wouldn't back them anymore. So I guess with the combination of that and then, the World Court, Dr. Henderson and them sending out that information, people are wising up saying, no, I'm not finna keep doing this.
Nope. Like, hey, wait a minute, that's not right.
Exactly.
They started to think.
Yeah, as rightfully they should. And who knows behind the scenes as far as how these budgets and this money is moving. They probably been given a blank piece of paper for the 2016 budget. Who knows?
They've already begged for more time until December.
Wait, yeah, but did you hear?
We know what that is.
Yeah,
they got a temporary thing until December. They just went and begged for some more time. That's all.
Right, which they not gonna get, because if I'm not mistaken, I saw last week where they was dropping hints that folks may not get their little Social Security checks in November.
Hey, I've been telling folks all that stuff is going to get cut out. All that stuff is going to get cut out. I've actually been out of town for about a week because I had something going on and I had to be there. But I was talking to some of my classmates last night. I said, hey, look here. I explained to them what was going on, and hey, look, whatever money you got in the bank, you better get it out of there and just put what you need there to take care of your little transaction and do what you got to do online until everything else comes through. Because you're finna get robbed again.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Right.
and those of us that are on the list, we'll get our little change back.
Yeah.
But I don't know about everybody else. I don't know how that works for them. But even with that said, my theory is, why even have to wait for KG to have to go on and get your change from the old system?
Right. Right. You know what? As a matter, this is how I feel about it. I don't want nothing from the old system but their destruction. That's all I want.
And that's the way I look at it too.
Yeah,
I want to start out fresh. I don't want nothing from them.
That's the way I look. I don't even want to bother KG, take time out of his day to get that fiat, because all they can get from me is a Xerox picture of my middle finger sent to them back. That's what they get.
I'm with you. Yes. Now take that. Monetize that.
Right.
Hey, I'm not going to give them none of my energy. They done stole enough of it.
That's exactly how I feel about it. So, when the switch is flipped, me personally, oh, y'all got a few of my feet. Oh, yeah, go on, keep that, boo-boo. Good luck spending it.
Yeah. Go ahead, like you say from the country. Go ahead on with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead on.
Yeah, go ahead on with that. Go ahead on with that right there.
Exactly. So, yeah, family. So that's the weekly news. Just keep paying attention what's going on. So, all right, sis, how you want to do this tonight? Because, girl and brother, I got some stuff out of the Book of Enoch that's going to blow y'all wig back.
Oh, my gosh.
So, sis, did you want me to start with that, or you want to start with the Terra Papers? You let me know.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and begin with the Terra Papers. And,
okay.
Okay, so I think we talked about 2 galactic wars, right? When we left off. And Enki had been stripped of his lordship, and he was just reduced to being the geneticist for Enlil. Okay, and so I'm going to talk a little bit more about Enki and what was going on after that took place, and then talk about the rise of the next war, which I think is the 3rd war, and that is concerning Marduk. Okay, so Enki dethroned from his position because of his genetic experiment of adding his DNA to the beasts, right? And disturbing the workforce. And this went on for thousands of years, okay? So eventually when Enlil found out, he sent the beast into exile because he couldn't use, because he started thinking, he was like, I don't want to do that. I want to go and do this, And so, but Enki, he continued to work with his creation, the exiled beast. And in this beast, he saw the possibility of a life unencumbered by a system pursuing a path of its own choice, and life living for the sake of life. This is what Enki saw for the beast. And what he was working on, this was his plan. But he was considered the anti-system because of that. Okay, those beasts was created to work, labor. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so Enki's plan was to infiltrate Enlil's administration because he still got it in his mind that he wants to get the throne. It's his, he first, even though we know his mother was not of the what do they call? She was not the official wife, okay?
Right.
She wasn't the first wife. She was a concubine.
Right. She wasn't the first wife.
Right. Okay. So he wanted to infiltrate the Enlil's administration with the upgraded beast, so they could take over from the inside. Okay. And so he formed this brotherhood, the Brotherhood of the Snakes. Okay, and their symbol was just the one strand snake. Okay, and the symbol was a symbol of sciences and knowledge of self. That's what the Brotherhood was about. And they were administrators and priests of Lord Enlil. Okay, he had the idea of giving the beast an opportunity to learn the secrets as well. Okay, so what he did was he held secret meetings in caves in the hillside, and they were known as Tachilas. I don't know if I'm saying this right, y'all, but it was the place of the word. Okay, it was also known as Churush or Churros or church. Church.
So that's where the word church originated from. Wow.
It was the place of the word or the teaching.
Everyone prays that you can put that on.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you may want to scratch my left toenail.
Don't get the second.
Not your left one.
I was like, oh my God, Enki. So what that place of the word or church did, okay, he taught them how to survive, how to hunt, to build shelters, traps, cook with fire. They learned quick. And they also taught their descendants, okay? So then Enki started instructing the beast in Enlil's mystery schools.
Ooh.
And the creature learned. Yes.
Okay.
The creature learned the mysteries, okay? So they were quick learners too. Okay, so those quick learners, Enki, they became known as Iesu, which means wise ones. Okay, and so that's when Enki's symbol became the double-headed serpent. That was his symbol. So he was proud of them and would lead, and they would lead the way to a life of free will. Okay, so Enlil found out. He found out that he was having secret meetings with the beast and teaching them this and that. And so what he do, he go get his own hybrid genetic experiment and infiltrate into the church. And infiltrated the church. Okay, so Enlil infiltrated, sent his own creations to the secret school and caused dissension amongst them and miscommunication with each other, which caused babbling. They started not to understand each other through the confusion, misinformation, and stuff. So, that created the Tower of Babel.
Okay, so that's where, and just to say, okay, Brother Wendell, I muted you because I'm still getting background noise. So if you could clear that up, then I'll unmute you again. Okay, so that's where that Tower of Babel, they're saying goes back all the way back to that time.
Yes, that was probably what they were talking about, because I'm sure that Scripture is talking about the galactic wars also, because as above, so below, as we can see.
That's interesting. Now, and as you were describing how Enki was, trying to protect what they're labeling as beast, and I don't know why this popped in my mind, and how he taught them and he was teaching them in secret, and how they picked up and they learned very well. And what popped in my mind, the movie that kind of explains this, but they put it in a different way, is Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that popped in my mind, but anyhow, I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
Yep, you're right. You're right. I knew that's what you was gonna say because that was in my mind too. You know, because he talked. Hell, Sugar in that movie.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Enki, you know, he was saddened from his defeat. You know, because the throne was not going to be his because he realized that once that infiltration happened, his own creation, you know, sided with Enlil. But that's not what really hurt him. What really hurt him was the fact that he couldn't get to this throne. Okay, so Enki, by his religious schools, established religious slavery among people. Renegades.
Enki did. Now say that again, so I don't want to explain him wrongly. Go ahead with it.
Okay, by his religious schools, in the mystery schools, he established religious slavery because he was doing it in secret, and what he was saying to his creation was that he was the creator of all that is. I am God. I am. Worship me. You know, even though he wanted them to have free will, and he taught him all these things and how to, you know, think for themselves and stuff, he still made them worship him. Okay, so because of his religious schools, he established religious slavery because, remember, Enlil infiltrated and saw what he was doing, you know. And so once all his experiment broke down, he probably used what he was doing, you know, and enhanced it his way and did the same thing.
Course.
You know, so he set the tone for religious slavery. Okay, and also played, let me see. He played the role of, right, here it is, of the powerful God, creator of the whole universe and all things, and only to him and his descendants people should worship, die, work, praise, and sacrifice everything for them. Okay? Instead, they received, okay, after the infiltration, they received the myth about the paradise. Okay? Okay, paradise. It was a myth. But they redistributed under afterlife paradise myth, meaning you must suffer now, and you will be promised a reward of paradise after death and only death. So the more you suffer,
that sounds like the current pastors, don't it?
You know, I was sitting here, y'all can see me. I'm sitting here with my hand on my temple, shaking my head like,
So, yeah, so we're seeing the origins of all this madness that we've been going through, you know, as above, so below. So the more you suffer, the more your reward would be, you know, and that was it was the greatest monstrous deception of all, you know, was to think that we have to go through suffrages to get to heaven. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So enters, after this went on for some time, you know, we still got Marduk out there lurking in the heavens because, remember, he was sealed up in the pyramid fortress. And he got help from the rebellious reptilians of the Orion and all the other underground worlds. You know, they came to aid Marduk. The reptilians came to aid Marduk.
Wasn't he camped up on Mars?
I think that's where he may have escaped to Mars. They don't really say.
That's what they took him when they remember. That's where they took Alelu to die.
Yeah, I remember that.
Also, later on, Anzu ended up being buried there with him. Because he had stole the tablet of destinies from Enlil. And they executed him with the way they explain it in the Book of Enki. They hit him with a laser gun and took him out, and then took him up there with a laser. Now, how ironic is that? Because he wouldn't stay with a laser till he died and buried him like a king, and he ended up there with it.
That's interesting. Okay.
So apparently they use Mars also as a exile station.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, since the Lelu was hemmed up there. So, and then I thought it's sis that you said that Marduk, they had trapped him in one of the pyramids.
Right, yeah.
On Mars, and he wound up finding how to escape, or was helped to escape underground from the pyramid. Okay.
Right. Yep, that's absolutely right. Yep. So after he got out of that pyramid, he fled into the heavens. Let me see. Okay, and so those ones that helped him, they got their plan together, right? And so they getting ready to go and get this throne. He want to take over the throne of Eridu.
Okay, and so just to make sure that the family is clear, isn't Marduk? How does Marduk fit in the family tree?
Oh, yes. Let me tell you, Marduk
that's
is
Enki's son.
His first son.
Yeah.
Okay, which makes him Anu's grandson, right?
Absolutely. Okay. So Eridu is an island outpost of the ASARR Empire. Okay, that's what he's getting ready to seize. Okay, so the third war begins. Marduk began his attack, and it was vicious and unmerciful. The ships were sabotaged because he did the same thing Enlil did. He infiltrated with his people into the communication system. Ships were sabotaged, they was rendered impotent to do anything, So they was either gone surrender or be killed. And so the humans, with great horror and fear, watched the weird space battle and fight of their gods on Earth's orbit in the open space. So, you got people like us, we sitting up here like watching Battlestar Galactica. So they was tripping. They was in fear, the ones that was on Earth or from Earth. Okay. We was tripping like, what in the world?
Right.
So, this was called the War of the Takeover, and it was backed by the reptilian rebels. And their success was quite easy because they kind of, they can communicate. All systems were shut down of communication. I don't know, they did something. So, Enlil and his followers fled back to the distant worlds of the ASARR Empire, which was probably Sirius B.
Probably so, yeah.
Okay, so Enki, with his followers, and Adamus Beast fled to his star system, Baal Eadius, Pleiades. Okay, and this is Pleiades. His name stood for Place of the Lord, the Creator, Enki. Okay, Place of the Lord, the Creator, Pleiades. That's what that's supposed to mean. And that's probably on Alcyon star.
Wow.
And they are now sending from their channeling streams of the falsehood. Okay, so I'm thinking they're sending channelings of the falsehood of these false reptilians here that's in control, and trying to let us know that We know that we've been cut off. We're trying to send y'all messages to let y'all know we haven't forgot about y'all. Like the crop circles are, I think, messages for the ones that was left behind to let them know that, you know, we see what's going on. We haven't forgotten about you all. The royal offspring of Enki and Enlil, they also fled because there were still some of them on here when Marduk took over too.
And just to also add to what you're saying, in the Terra Papers, Dr. York in the El Holy Tablets described Marduk as one of the disagreeables. So he was still a part of the bloodline, but he was on the side of the disagreeables, and it also discussed how he was clowning and trying to take over, because he described him as being an excellent fighter pilot. So I just want to add to that. So okay.
Yes. Okay, so I forgot what year we was in back then because it's in my other notes, but I'm going to put this year, these dates out of 2025 to 2020 to 2000 BC. Okay, this is what was going down. I find
that interesting, those dates.
Very, right? So the Sumerians,
you might well bring that on forward because we know the timelines are screwed.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So this part right here is very interesting. And it starts off saying the Sumerians and the Akkadians died. Civilization of Triphylianians, something like that, from the Ukraine. The civilization of the Ukraine.
Okay.
Died out. Okay? The Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Absolutely.
I keep telling folks it's all connected.
I was like, the Ukraine, wait a minute, they fighting over that place right now? Oh, okay, now I see why they want to go over there. You know. Okay,
everything that's connected to that area down around the Persian Gulf, all that's going to continue to be wars there because it's a very important stuff there, and it's still there.
Yep.
Right. So check it. Egypt from 27 villages of the ancient Old Kingdom, there only remains 4 in India, Pakistan, Ireland. Girl, hello?
We're here.
Oh, my gosh, y'all, I'm in a blackout.
Oh wow.
Then all the lights just went out. Hold on, no, I'm okay, but I just can't sleep. Hold on. Where's my candle?
Oh, wow. Did you want us to go on, sis, and just let you come back?
Yes, go ahead on. I'm going to put you on mute.
Okay, beloved. Okay. Wow. Okay, then.
That's off the chair. I thought I don't want to talk. I'm down here in the country. I'm sitting outside.
Okay, family. So what we're going to do while Sis Saida get
family. It appears that the lights was at.
Okay. Well, good. It was just temporary.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So Ukraine, the Old Kingdom remains only 4 in India, Pakistan, Ireland, Northern Scotland, Peru, Bolivia, Mexico. In Europe and other nations, mass of ancient humans died out unexplained spontaneously on the surface of the planet. So during that time, the ancient people a mass died out. Or spontaneous
died.
Unexplained, right. Okay, so the location of here we do.
Hold on. We might have missed something right there.
Okay.
You said that mass death was spontaneous?
That's what it says. Yes, unexplained, spontaneous on the surface of the planet. Hold on, I'm gonna get there.
Okay, you right. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the location of all of this was called Eridu, and it was located in the Persian Gulf, right? Eridu was 230 kilometers from the Persian Gulf. It was destroyed by a nuclear explosion. And I think that it was being terraformed by Marduk. He was eradicating any symbols of any kings and heroes before him, because now he was going to be the almighty God, creator of the whole entire universe.
So he thought, but
Go ahead, brother.
That still sounds like the pastors, man, because everybody wants to be the one. That's why. See, that's why they being hard-headed and stiff-necked about telling the people what's really going on in these congregations and getting their butts on the right side of things. They control freaks, man.
Right. And just think about it. That's why, again, as we've been talking over the past couple of weeks, why that area is so important. And I don't know if people remember when Israel and the Ukraine situation, remember when that was hot? Well, it was rumored that what was happening was the folks in Israel, the fake Jews that are really just Khazarians kicking up dirt, knew that they were going to be run up out of there because the world had woken up and like, we're tired of you kicking around the Palestinians, so they were going to try to run to Ukraine and take over that Ukraine land. That's what that fight was really about. So that's why we keep telling you, family, this is really about land. Because he who controls the land controls the people.
Right. And another reason why it's coming to me that all of this is going on over there is because that's where these galactics landed when they first got here.
Absolutely.
And set up shop all up in the crevices of over there.
You know what? You're right about that. Remember, I think I did mention this on an earlier call that I had gotten a hold to a couple of documents that had the schematic of how that whole area was mapped out, and the way they built. What Enlil did, he built 5 cities, including Eridu. He built 4 more cities, and the way, and one of them was the mission control, and it was like right in the middle of it. And what they were doing, they would bring in the ships. The spaceships would come in over the Persian Gulf and land right there in that area. Because he had built a spaceport so that they could transport the gold to Mars and then from Mars to Nibiru.
Right. Yep.
And you know what?
And Dr. York said that in the tablets too, by the way, how transporting the gold to Mars to Nibiru, then back to Risk. But go ahead, sorry, brother.
And that spaceport is still there. It just got covered. It just got covered up some kind of way. But that spaceport is still there because that pyramid of Giza, that big one, they use that as a beacon.
That's interesting that you say that, because tonight, hopefully we'll have time to get to it, because I do want us to go over the big Book of Enoch, because it's got some stuff that's going to blow y'all wig back. But in the El Holy Tablets tonight, the point that we're at, Dr. York describes in detail the ship Nibiru. And I thought about you, Brother Wendell, because he said at the top of Nibiru there is an antenna. And I thought about how you said them antennas was communicating to them gold caps on the pyramids. So on
That's
Mars
right.
and on planet Tiamat or Earth, how that antenna is a communicator as well. So that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think the thing that the U.S. Corp and their scientists are afraid of is, see, when the Nibiru gets in its orbit closer and closer to the sun, because that's what's happening, those pyramids gonna come online.
Yeah. Dr. Blair talks about that, baby.
Yeah, and you gotta remember, Dr. Blair put it out there months ago that those pyramids had started humming.
He sure did. He sure did. And you know who else talked about the crystal cities that's gonna light up under the ocean was Dr. York.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So where is that located? Do we know the location of the crystal city?
Yeah,
light up under the water?
Yeah, it's the Bermuda Triangle area.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Bermuda Triangle area. And tonight, when we go into the description of Nibiru, it's going to blow y'all wig back. You're going to be like, what? So, okay, go ahead, sis.
Okay, so Marduk, so I'm at 2023 to 2000 BC. Marduk, he was unchallenged on the throne of Eridu. And to ensure it, he ordered a search for the remaining royal heirs and gave them a choice of total subjugation or death. The entire Eridu Empire would bow down to Marduk. Once seated, he began his final assault on Eridu to destroy any records that attributed any heroic or kingly achievement to anyone other than himself.
Sounds familiar.
Okay. Stone mountains, obelisks, edifices altered by stonecutters to tablets of clay and wood burned and destroyed. No record of any other monarch remained. Marduk had become the beginning and ending of all things, appointed himself Lord God and creator of the universe. Now I know who they're talking about in the script when they say Lord God. Because I was like, okay, Lord, and then you got Lord God. Because me and my sister constantly have this conversation when we do Bible study.
That's interesting.
Who is the Lord God?
That's interesting. Okay.
So Marduk became Sun God Ra, or Amun-Ra, Amun-Ra, Amun. Amun equals hidden. Okay, so one more change, and that was records were given a new face, but memories were left. Using mind-altering techniques of his SSATA reptilian minions, the new king ordered systematic alteration of the minds of the beings of Eridu. Okay, so to accomplish this, and this may line up with what you were talking about, the antennas and the towers and stuff. Okay, so to accomplish this, existing structures converted to chambers for reprogramming. Okay, so they sent them in one by one or in groups. The colonists, the beast, Adama, and Adapa were promised wealth, property, power, sexual favors, and anything to entice them into the tunnels leading to the reprogramming rooms. Okay, so screen memories were implanted to hide recollection of the events. Okay, so colonists or beasts who refused to volunteer treatment were seized and forced into the memory altering chamber for adjustment. Okay, this sounds like the stuff they're using on these stars with this MK Ultra mind programming.
Right, and I'm going to even.
You know what that you know what that also sounds like?
What's that?
That sounds like these concentration camps.
Yeah.
Programming.
Yeah, and here's the thing that struck me as you was describing that, sis, and I can't remember which master teacher said it. It could have been Dr. Blair. I want to say it's Dr. Blair. He said, quote, that the reason that the planet is in the state that it's in now, how people are being mind controlled, is because they have control of them crystal pyramids. They control the signal that pulse out over the planet, keeping people brainwashed. But, of course, the ones that got the strong bloodline and that was destined to come online can get past that signal. So as Ship Nibiru came back in 2012, when we started shifting the galaxy into the golden age, that's knocking out that signal. So when Nibiru totally gets here, which I think is here already, I think the signal definitely been shut down. It's on and popping now. So that makes sense what you're saying.
Yep. Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, it was both Dr. Blair and Dr. Valentine that mentioned it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I remember them talking about the fighting for control and battle over them crystal pyramids.
Wow. Okay. So some of the Isu, and now the Isu were the wise ones, right? The ones that Enki was teaching, and the ones that learned fast, they became the wise ones. So they fled. Some of them fled into the wilderness or the high mountains, and they engraved on stones clues of the takeover of the sun god Ra and the Sheti. That's what they were called. That group of rebellious reptilians was called the Sheti. Before they was captured and reprogrammed, they left clues in the mountains on stones and stuff. Okay, these clues will remain hidden until uncovered or recognized or deciphered, such as the Mars face or the dome cities on the moon. And as time went on, the inhabitants felt a common uneasiness that something was missing. Okay, so they've been reprogrammed, but remember, they didn't take away their, what did they do? They gave him different scenes, but they left the memories in the back. But they started feeling like something is missing. Like they recalled something was coming up in their consciousness about something that happened. Because they all had this common thing about they recalled a bright light at the end of a tunnel.
Interesting.
Okay, and each knew to go to the light, into the light for your ultimate reward. So I guess when they went into their reprogramming tunnel, they were saying, follow the light for your reward, follow the light for your reward.
Okay, so sis, real quick before I lose that thought. I think Dr. Valentine talked about this, Bobby Hemmett talked about it, and Brother Savan or Seven Bomer. They talk about when folks die. Remember how you're taught. Go to the light, go to the light, go to the light, when you should be doing the opposite.
Yep.
Because the light is the path of reprogramming and reincarnation to come back in the system, sleep.
Yes.
versus if you go to the dark side, you're going back to the source, the melanated source, the most highest, the creator.
Yes, going back to that dark matter. There it is.
Primordial water. Yes,
exactly. So that makes sense what the Terra paper is saying about the bright light. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep, that was part of the reprogramming in the tunnels. Yep. Okay, so one last precaution that the SSATA took because of this, was to construct huge towers. Now, this really tripped me out, which transmitted a cloud of, what you said, sister, electrical signals to prevent signals from outside reaching the beast on the inside.
Yep.
So now this is why we surrounded by all these freaking towers talking about they cell phone towers. I don't believe that.
They's a so-and-so lie because those waves, and Dr. Blair talks about that a lot, which is hence I'm wearing a diode on my left arm right now. How those signals messes with our consciousness. Because what's happening, family, because we are one with the Creator, we should be able to tap into that dark matter. Because those pulses are emitting. So part of it was to block out the pulses using these pyramid devices. But they knew, because remember, they know prophecy very well. They knew that 2012 was swinging back around to lift those that pulse off of us. So in preparations to that, we thinking we getting some great technology, but that was them putting up the man-made pulse to keep our consciousness down.
Yep, absolutely. So no signals from Enlil, Enki, or the Arian queens could get through. Okay, and so for further control of this, okay, the house of obedience of Prince Enlil was where the beast visited, check it, every 7 days for obedience lessons taken over by the SSATA rebels. Okay, so church was the obedience. Okay, church was the house of obedience. And it was held at the Temple Palace of Marduk, which is in Karnak, Luxor.
Oh.
And so, family, it makes so much sense now, and that's why, George Francis and them are walking around claiming that they are the descendants of the high priest in Kemet. This is where they get this from. They still straight up wrong because it's trickery in the game, because what people don't realize is George Mario is controlled by someone. There's someone behind him known as the Black Pope that really controls things. And so I'm just guessing. Now, this part is just around a guess. There's an entity behind the Black Pope that's controlling him. So it's almost like these, they're putting out there for us to try to make them feel that they're all powerful with this Illuminati crap. And this levels upon levels upon levels, and when you get to the center level, that's where you are, and the center level they're making us think is George Mario, when really that ain't even the center level. He is the front man for the really battle behind the scene. Although he's still gonna be held accountable for definitely for what he's doing, but it's even deeper than that. It's deeper than the George Mario that you see.
Yeah. Speaking of the Black Pope, I was listening to Dr. Valentine last week before I had to leave town.
That's why when she talked about it, that's what reminded me of that. Yes.
Yeah, and he made mention that George Mario was the first one to hold both positions, Pope and Black Pope.
Now that's interesting. Now that would make sense why Dr. Henderson, boy, he lightened him up a new one. That really makes sense why he lightened him up.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, and I'm going to close out my segment with this. Even though Marduk put his children in high position, okay, because he started thinking, wait a minute, these reptilians, they're not really on my side. They're just helping me because I'm offering them all these things, but they could eventually try to overtake me, you know. And so he was still overthrown by them because as soon as he thought it, they did it, and it was a quiet, silent war, no battle.
Takeover.
Because they infiltrated the same way Marduk did, the same way Enlil did, you know. So they just repeat each other's stuff and enhance it a little bit more, you know, get a little bit stupid with it. Okay, so the SSTA reptiles, without the battle, you know, had up one on Marduk. They up one not only on Marduk, sun god Ra, but Prince Enlil, the great king Anu too, and even the Arian SST queens. They took over the 9th passageway. Complete reprogramming of all inhabitants and total control of the 9th passageway. Okay. The reptilians.
Wow.
Okay, and they are even the ones that's cornering the drug market. Okay, they were called the lords of Ma, the drug market, the profitable illicit trade. Okay, so the beasts continue to labor, you know, for the new lords, unaware of the changes that they were slaves. But they did start having recall of past life. They still had recall. They still were recalling their past lives, even in spite of the programming they was doing. They were still, you know. And so the saga continues.
Wow. Well, okay, sis. Well, that's deep. It kind of lays out for you how things are kind of ran today with the Vatican system, because it's the same type of system. So, again, now we know where it derived from, as above, so below.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's like, wow, this is what... I can't believe it. It's just like a movie come true.
It really is. It really is. It's just playing out all over again. So, let me see where I want to go with it.
It's the same thing, and it's the same people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Reinventing themselves, but now we're at the point where all of the shenanigans stop.
Yeah.
And so now it's like that last battle stand. You know, people just gonna, you know how they say, go out with a fight. So that's where we are today with the battle of Armageddon, because we are in the time of judgment.
Yeah, it's just like what we talked about last week, Rhonda. The way I always looked at it, the battle of Armageddon has always been brewing. We just at the head of it now.
You did say that. You did say that. Well, I'm going to segue into the Book of Enoch because El Holy Tablets, it describes the ship Nibiru, so hopefully we can get to that as well. And then before we do that, we'll do the last of the story of Yacub. So, all right, so the Book of Enoch, family, we are at the 7th chapter. And it says, Enoch stays for a while with the Watchers. So the last time we left off with the Book of Enoch, he had traveled dimensions. He went through all these different houses to stand before the throne of the Most Highest, Father Yahweh, to get the sentencing for the fallen angels. Okay, so basically, you know, the Most Highest, Allah, Father Yahweh, basically said that their sentence is pretty much death, the pit. So, you know, he had to travel back, bring that to them, because remember, they asked him to write up this petition to take on their behalf to the Father.
Right.
So when he gets back down from traveling all these dimensions and all of this jazz, he goes to give them their sentence. And where were they hiding? In Lebanon, in a cave, right next door to Syria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, all of that. That's where they was chilling, hiding. Okay.
So what you hiding for?
Exactly. Now you was all big and bad. You wasn't hiding when you was clowning. But so anyhow, so now this particular chapter, it discusses that Enoch, he hung out with the Watchers a little bit longer. So it was saying that the Watchers took Enoch. So let's remember, when we say Watchers, you know, we're talking about, in this particular content, the benevolent angels, okay, the good angels or the agreeable angels. So, again, we have to pay attention because these terms will be used over and over again, but they could mean different things. So you have to pay attention to the content that they're being used in. Okay.
Good point. Good point.
So, so the Watchers took Enoch to a place that was like a burning fire. And so it says in this chapter that the Watchers, when they wish, they could turn themselves to look like men. So I found that interesting because I'm like, you know, maybe they do that as to not frighten people, and then of course the disagreeables probably do it to be slick and to manipulate.
Right.
Exactly. That's the shape shifter. Absolutely. Absolutely. But in this case, you know, because, you know, Enoch's nerves was probably shot. He didn't been through so much. So they just, you know, transformed to you know, look like men. So Enoch went on to describe the structure of the earth from above. Okay. And so he described the 4 winds of the earth. And he describes the winds as the mechanism that turned the sky and caused the disk of the sun and all the stars to set. Okay, so immediately when I read that, I said, whoa, this is another reason why they hid the Book of Enoch. Because
Can you read that again?
Okay, sure will. Before I put my 2 cents on it, he said, it says he describes the 4 winds as supporting the earth and the sky. And he describes the winds as turning the sky and causing the disk of the sun and all the stars to set. Okay. By you saying, "Oh, I know you know where I'm going with this, sis."
I think I do, but go ahead, girl. Ooh.
Okay, so what clued me in, because anybody that has heard of the flat Earth theory,
okay, now,
will know where I'm going with this. Because those that are in belief that the earth is not shaped the way they claimed it to be, as no big ball hanging in the sky, will get what this verse is saying. Because remember, Enoch is up high looking down at the structure of the earth. So he's describing the winds as these pillars. And the winds are literally turning the heavens, the stars.
Oh my
and
God.
the sun is shaped like a disc.
Mm-hmm.
And the wind is also turning the stars and is turning this disc sun. And the winds control how the stars set as well as this disc. Don't say ball. It says disc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So he also said. It also says he also describes seeing the path of the angels, and he called it the firmament of heaven above. So, of course, that's AKA a gateway.
Mm-hmm.
So, y'all, this can really blow y'all wigs straight up back. Okay, here we go.
Okay, come on.
So, now remember, because he's still up high, him and the Watcher, they still up high. They far up high. He's describing the view from up high. So, he went south, and it was burning day and night. He describes 7 mountains. And shoot, y'all, I had so many notes, y'all just don't know. Okay, so he describes 7 mountains. And now I got to try to find where I picked back up.
Okay.
Bear with me, y'all.
Yes. 7 mountains.
Yeah, that's when it gets deep, y'all. Shoot, now I done mislabeled my notes. Okay. So basically, I'm trying to remember it. I hate to do stuff from memory. Okay, yep, he describes 7 mountains. Yep, okay, I thought I was reading it wrong, y'all. So he describes 7 mountains made of precious stones. 3 of them were towards the east, and 3 of them were toward the south. The east stone were colored. 1 was pearl, and that one was a healing stone. The south stones were red. The middle stone reached the heaven like a throne of the Lord. And it used the term stibium. And when I looked up that word, stibium, it means chemistry. And so at the top of this throne, this is the middle throne that he's describing, it was a sapphire stone. So then he goes on to describe that fire burned in all the mountains, and a deep divide in the earth with the pillars of heavenly fire. Both height and depth it was immeasurable. So, and beyond that chasm, a place had neither the sky above it or the foundation below it. There was no water on it and no birds. It was a desert place. So the angel told Enoch, this is a place of the end of heaven and earth. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the host of heavens. And it says, the stars that roll over the fire, these are the ones which transgress the command of the Lord. Okay, so we're going to stop there and chop it up a little bit, because Enoch went, that was a lot of description that he gave. Okay, so remember, family, Enoch is above us. So if you look up in the sky at night, you see the stars, right? During the day, you'll see the sun, that disk. Enoch was even above that. So he's above that, looking down on everything. So he can see the entire structure of this planet. So he didn't say he up there and he see no blue ball. He didn't say he was up there in the stars. He said he was above high, and he saw the winds, which were pillars that supported the heavens. And as those pillars, those winds turned, it moved that sky and it moved that disk. So he's telling you that the earth is not structured the way they're telling you that it's structured. Okay, so
well, he was high above. He was above the stars, right? Okay, so really, what he was looking at was not just Earth. He was looking at the whole solar system.
I don't know how far Enoch was up.
Well, if you say he saw the sun and it was as a disk, right?
Right.
The firmament, he saw how the earth was being turned. I think he saw how, and the reason why I say this is because I've been looking, and you know, I've been talking about the flat earth theory, right? And something told me to go to the UN flag, y'all.
It's all sis, suck it now. It's gonna blow your wig back when we get to the next part. But go ahead.
Look here. We is still connected. And now I'm looking at, sis, what you just described. I'm looking at, they got, instead of it showing the planet, the land masses, they showing the solar system using the UN flag setup. I'm going to post this up on my page. You got to see it, girl. The sun is as a disk. You can even see the daggone, you can see the, what's the rocky part of our solar system, y'all? Come help me out with it.
The Milky Way.
Not the Milky Way.
Belt.
You can see the asteroid belt. You can see the trajectory of Nibiru coming in through this hip. Ooh, girl, what you done see?
So definitely post that. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that's
you can.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Those I won't call them flags because they're all banners.
Banners.
You can do. I did a study on those a while back, and you can find a lot of messages in there.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and
those banners mean something.
Absolutely, and the people of the flat Earth theory always bring up the UN flag, and if you all don't know what we're talking about, go Google the UN flag, and you will see that it's flat as a pancake. It's got the continents in the middle. surrounded by water and this border around it, but you have two openings at the end. Okay, so
them pillars, those leafy things remind me of you talking about the wind and how it was turning. You know,
that's a good point, sis. Yes. Which very well could be, them showing how the winds turn. It's turning everything. So that UN flag is showing you the view from up high. The only thing that's missing is the part that Enoch is telling us about. As Sis said, and I hadn't thought about it till you just said it, he was up higher looking down at the entire solar system and then the structure of planet Earth. So that's the only thing that UN flag is not showing you is the heaven above, but it's showing you from up above what the planet Earth looks like.
A while back when I was studying and trying to figure out what I could on the Earth being upside down, I started thinking about this one thing that's very important because we know the deception that's been going on.
Right.
All the times that we've seen live shots from a space shuttle or whatnot, think about the trouble they went through to create a lens that would show you that rather than the real deal.
Exactly. You talking about the fisheye lens?
Yeah.
That's I know one thing, that's a hell of a lens.
Yeah,
that will show you something round that's actually not round. And to show you something that's not upside down to show it right side up. I don't know what kind of lens that is, but it's off the chain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
I just wanted to say, because this planet, it was damaged. And that's why they coming to see what we're doing from the heavens, from other places, because it appears that we are the only ones living out on the surface of a planet out in space. Because this planet was damaged, and that asteroid belt is the pieces, okay? Because everything is on the inside.
Right.
We're subject to all manner.
Most of the entities live on the insides of the planet. Right.
Right. So they are pretty much amazed that we are surviving in the elements like this.
Right. So, family. And anybody when I first heard the flat earth theory, it was some years ago, and I have to credit that to Dr. Mutua. And when he said that, I'm like, I just let it sink in, then let it sink in some more, then I did some research. Then I started paying attention to the sky. And I'm like, doggone it, that makes sense. Then when I went on cruise ships, I just started looking at the sky and looking at the horizon.
Yes.
I said, I don't see no MF curve. What are they talking about?
Right. What a curve, indeed. You can notice the clouds.
Hey, that made you spill your umbrella drink, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm sitting there chilling. I said, let me go on and put this coconut down. I don't see no MF curve. You can see the islands far off, and that horizon never bends.
Yeah, never.
So
just go on.
Now that just go to show you what I talked about that lens, because that lens makes the horizon bend.
Exactly.
It do some of everything.
Yeah, that's a lens making things bend. If you in the airplane, look out the window. Let me know when you see it bend. Matter of fact, take a picture of it bending. You're not going to see it.
Right.
Yep.
So they're lying. They're lying about the structure of this planet.
Yeah, and they also learned about the airplane routes too. That's for that matter.
We finna get there.
Okay.
Okay. So now remember, Enoch and the angel, they way up above, and so the angel shows to him. Let me get to that part. Go back over that part because I know we talked about stuff. Okay, so the angel told Enoch, this is now he looking at the place where he saw fire. He didn't see no birds. He didn't see no foundation below it, no water on it, nothing. So the angel told Enoch that this is a place of the end of the heaven and earth. This is the prison for the stars of heaven and the host of heavens. The stars that roll over the fire, these are the ones which transgressed the command of the Lord. So that also proves the point, family, that we are the stars too. So don't miss that point in Enoch little travels as well. So then, the angel still breaking it down, saying the Most Highest was angry with them. Now they speaking on the fallen angels, and bound them until the time of consummation of their sin in the year of mystery. Now, y'all, I was like, go ahead on, bring it now when I saw this. So at all this time, I don't know who Enoch is traveling with and who's breaking all this down for him. So then they tell us who he's with. He's with Uriel. Uriel told Enoch. Yes, he was with Uriel. Uriel is breaking all this down to him. And Uriel had been on my mind for the past 2 weeks. Now I understand why he was. Uriel told Enoch that the fallen angels would stand there upon the great judgment day to be judged. Now, I'm going to pause on give it up to Uriel again, because if I'm not mistaken, it was either this Wednesday or it was Friday. The Dr. Henderson, did he not say Uriel is sounding the trumpets?
Yes, he did. And now I know what Uriel represents. Planet Earth. Planet Earth's color is green according to this flag that I'm looking at.
But see, here's the thing with the winds. Remember when I described the 4 winds as being the pillars holding up the heavens, and they help turn the heavens? Also, the 4 archangels are always described as the 4 winds.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, so remember he talked about that gateway. So that's how the archangel, the fallen angels slid they behind down and start clowning. And that's apparently how, the archangels go up and down there. But bottom line, Uriel, I found this very interesting, that he was the one giving Enoch the lay of how this planet is laid out. And basically what Uriel is showing Enoch, he's showing him the pit.
Oh,
now,
yes.
He brought him up. Right. It's finna get deep, y'all, baby. Oh, so this Uriel breaking it down. And then when Dr. Henderson said, I think he said that Wednesday, I said, Uriel, you up there blowing the oh, man, all right then, boo. So I found that real interesting. Okay. So, Uriel basically said, yeah, you see that hole down there where you don't see nothing, and you see them that fire popping on? That's where they going. So Enoch goes on to state that he was the only man to see that. And so when he was saying he was the only man to see that, he was saying the structure of the earth, the structure of the galaxy, and to see the actual pit. So then I got to doing a little research, because some mountains, I'm like, I got to know where these mountains are at. Because they describe these mountains on this planet, and doggone it, I'm going to find it. So,
the 7 mountains?
Yes.
Okay.
Here is where they are, and in the notes of the Book of Enoch, whoever took notes on it, they are saying that they think that the mountains or the islands could be what's called the South Sandwich Islands. Get ready for your wig to be blown back.
Oh, my God.
They are in Antarctica.
I knew you was going to say that.
Okay. And so then, to close out this chapter, Enoch said, and they took me to the water of life, as it is called, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. Okay, so soon as he said this last part, which receives every settings of the sun, I already knew he was talking about Antarctica. Because every year, a certain time of the year, the sun does not set in Antarctica. You can literally see the disk going around the planet in different positions, and it doesn't get dark. So that is telling you that the where Enoch was looking at, he's looking from the top on down, and he's seeing the center of the earth. And he's looking straight down the center of the earth, family. For those that follow the flat earth theory, is what they call the South Pole. It really isn't a South Pole. The South Pole is at the center with a hole in it. Which is Antarctica. And you can look straight down.
That's why they made that area where Admiral Byrd went up there. That's why they made that off limits.
Yep. And to this day, you cannot fly over it. Flights are routed around that center. Nothing is allowed over there. It's military protected.
Yep. Yes, indeed, sister.
So what he is describing, he looked up, he saw this surface, he looked down, he saw another ecosystem in the middle, inner earth, quote, quote, hint, hint, family, inner earth, because he talked about seeing the deeps of the waters, inner earth, people, and then beyond inner earth, there's nothing but the fire popping up. That's the pit.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Wow, sis.
That was the Book of Enoch, chapter 7. If you all get a chance, go read it. Now I know why they particularly hid this book, because not only does it break down to us what the whole curse of the fallen angels is, who the fallen angels are, their descendants. Now this book is telling us literally the shape of the earth, is telling you in detail the pit, and how we have no bottom under. And Dr. Henderson talked about that one time when somebody asked him about the structure of the earth. He said it is like you being underneath the table, and you have a tablecloth on this table, and at the crease of the table, you can pull that tablecloth straight through. So he was describing to you the hole in the center of the earth, and as you keep going, that's the bottomless pit. There's nothing there but fire and nothingness for their behind.
That's it.
They depicted that in the Chronicles of Riddick as Planet Helion, where they had that prison on that planet.
Interesting. See, I never watched that, but that's interesting. Wow.
You know that Superman movie, the first one that we did, that's where I put. Didn't I say that I think that's where he went? Remember when he went to throw the crystal in the water, the life-giving water, and it was all snowy and icy?
Yeah, and he brought up a crystal city, but he was still in Antarctica, wasn't he?
Right. Yes, that's what I think. Yes, most definitely.
Right, because supposedly the myth about that whole inner Earth theory is there's supposed to be multiple ways that you can get to it from this planet, but one of the real obvious ways, because that's why that Antarctica area is so highly protected. And now that I think back about it, was not China just last month popping off about Antarctica? Didn't China have warships sitting on Antarctica? Oh yeah, because the Pentagon had to come out saying they scratched the head. We really don't know why China is up there by the Antarctica. And it was when
that's when Obama went out there to see if that was for real.
Exactly. Press O even went up there. So peep game, family. Antarctica has always been important. They have always protected that area because they know that it's a entry point to inner Earth. They ain't gonna go too far because it's also the pit.
Yeah.
And the North American continent is it's extremely important also because it's called the North Gate.
That's interesting.
Okay.
That's interesting. That makes sense.
Very
that makes sense. So
yeah.
So
that's one of the reasons why they had to trick our people out of this land and get control of it, because this piece right here is off the chain important.
It's really off the chain because that's why they over there fighting Iraq and stuff, Lebanon and all of that, because it's got to be a gateway over there.
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay, it is. Now, you just heard Enoch describe, he saw the 4 pillars, the 4 winds that turn the earth. And then in the center of it, did he not say a throne shoots out?
Yeah.
And that's the gateway?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons, too, they want to keep controlling that Antarctica area. And literally just last month, China, and I know China still got to be sitting there. I know they still sitting there. They're sitting there with their warships, and the Pentagon and them going to come out, we don't know why they up there. I sat there and said, bull ass, you know exactly why they're there.
Yes, you do.
So that's what's going on with those areas, family. And I heard Dr. Henderson also talk about, I think he said Arizona is also the location of the pit.
Yep.
Now, anybody that's been paying attention, Yellowstone Park and our beloved Chief Willie been giving us the warning signs about that for a minute. How it's so hot and it's so bubbling that they have to keep shutting Yellowstone Park down because it is melting the soles of the tourist shoes. Yes, ma'am. The animals are running for the hills.
Yes, I've seen the buffalo running.
Yeah, so because that's that pit heating up. So these are these particular gateways that's opening up because we're in a time of judgment. So people just gonna be escorted in the pit. And so I'm envisioning the pit to run at the very last bottom all across this planet. That's what I'm envisioning the pit to be. So you have the heavens, then you have our atmosphere, then you have us, then in between us there's another ecosystem that's like the inner earth. And then after the inner earth, below the inner earth got their little surface that they walk on, chill on, etc. But there's still that hole. After that, whoosh, the pit.
Whoosh. That's it.
Nothing. And that's all. I think that's this entire. The pit is beneath this entire planet. It's just certain entryways or gateways, as we call them, to get to there.
I totally agree with that too.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons that they've been guarding these particular areas, thinking that they're going to change from them being escorted into them.
You can't stop this train.
No, it is what it is. It is what it is. So
yes, it is.
Yeah, family. So that is that's the Book of Enoch, chapter 7.
Wow.
I know.
Wonderful.
That was
information.
I know. That was pretty deep. So the last thing I want to do, because we about at 9:20, is to go into the last part of Yacub, because that kind of ties back into what Sis was talking about the grafting and the genetic experiments of making different beings, etc., etc. So those of you that followed the story of Yacub with us, we're in the last part. So long, real quick summary. You can catch this Yacub story on YouTube by a brother that has a YouTube channel called The Big Head Scientist. And he studied under Dr. York. Okay, so the story of Yacub, he talks about how his mom was a princess, and she had an affair. Now, mind you, they're in inner earth. According to the story of Yacub, they're in inner earth. So the mom had a little affair. Yacub, her husband had some power. She had an affair with somebody. They got kicked out. They was going to kill them or whatever. So they escaped to the surface of the planet. And she became pregnant through this affair. So her and the man she had the affair with, they escaped to the surface of the planet. They went to Saudi Arabia. Same area, family. So that's where Yacub was born. And in this inner earth, by the way, family, they describe different beings, different species. One looked like Jabba the Hutt. They kind of described, and they show in this video these different beings. So they Yacub and them went to the surface. Yacub's parents, he was born. He had a grudge against melanated dark folks, so he was like, I'm gonna start breeding them out. And so he started pretty much doing that, and he got pushed off to another island, this, that, and the third. So bottom line, to clean up Yacub's mess of messing with the bloodline or watering down the bloodline or creating another being, Ishmael came into place to reverse the genetic damage that Yacub had done. And when he started breeding back in the stronger gene, the melanated gene, he also made it that the weaker gene had a time limit on it. So that gene only had so many X amount of years, and when that time frame came, they could no longer reproduce. So that's where we left off. So this is going to be the last part of the Yacub story. So I do want to get that. We'll play this video because I didn't want to forget about the Yacub story because we have been promising it so much longer. So here it is, family. Dream Team, mute your phones.
Okay.
As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And so Yashmal smiled at this fact, now having knowledge that the evil acts done by his cousin Yacub would be reversed just by letting nature take its course. The process of grafting the derivative tribes back into the original Ebenoid tribe took 900 years, and once completed, Yashmal took another 100 years to teach and train his followers how to control and conquer the evil which existed within themselves, rather than attempting to graft the evil out, letting it manifest and personify as a being. After the 1,000-year period with Yashmal in the inner earth, Yashmal returned to the surface of the earth to the area presently known as the Mwanza region in Africa with 144,000 Ebenoid people. When Yashmal and his 144,000 followers returned, the people on the surface of the earth said, Yashmal, you said you would be gone for one day, and you were true to your word. You have only been gone for one day, but many of the people you have returned with are not the same people you left with. What have you done with our brothers and sisters? One of the Ebenoid women named Kidara, who was one of Yashmal's wives and one of the 144,000, spoke up and said, I am the daughter and great descendant of your brothers and sisters, which it seems to you left with Yashmal just yesterday, but we have been with Yashmal in the inner earth for 1,000 years, and Yashmal has taught us the science of genetics and how to rid the world of evil, as well as how to conquer the evil within ourselves. Yashmal spoke and said, indeed, one day in the inner earth can be like 1,000 years. Yashmal's 144,000 followers then proceeded to teach the Ebenoid people on the surface of the earth the way to defeat the evil currently plaguing the earth in the same way that Yashmal had taught them. Yashmal returned to the inner earth with his Ebenoid wife Kidara. After returning to the inner earth, Yashmal was elected to a seat as one of the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth. Yashmal taught Kidara the secret to eternal life, and they had many children together. Yashmal told Kidara that the Ebenoid woman is the human representative of nature on the surface of the earth, and thus the Ebenoid woman is the key to destroying the evil plaguing the surface of the earth, and she is the key to bringing peace and balance back to the surface of the earth. Yashmal told Kidara that it was not him who the 24 wise elder scientists of the inner earth had prophesied about, it was her, the Ebenoid woman. Yashmal told Kidara that he was merely a conduit to allow her to bring balance back to the earth. And so while the big head scientist Yashmal's followers execute his plan on the surface of the earth, Yashmal and Kidara wait with their family in the inner earth for the hereafter, that is to say, here on earth, after evil has been removed, and peace and balance has been restored.
According to what Master Farad Muhammad taught me on the race question, the origin of the races, in the beginning of the races, they numbered around 4. And from these 4 races of people, they has produced many different types of people, but they are not, say, independent in their beginning. They came from one. We say today we have lots of various color people all over the earth, from we say from brown to white. We are not all the same color due to intermixing with such colors as black, brown, yellow, and red and white. This has produced it many other various colors. And the origin of it, according to the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad, to me, was from a scientist, a God. We see him. We see him as a God. Back 6,000 years ago, started we say a scientific, or I should say, a master grafting work on the human being to produce a new civilization, a new race of people from the original race of people, or aboriginal people. This man, Yacub, who discovered in the dream of the black man that he had two people in him, and that he had learned through study and experimenting on germs that this second germ could produce a powerful people that would be able to rule that which they came from for around 6,000 years until the father or the aboriginal produces one superior to his man. And that was this, that he taken through experimental work on the germ of man, a people of what we call today a white race. But before he produced it, that white race, he produced it a brown race. He produced it a yellow race, and so on. There is his first grafting from the black man according to the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom we see him and know him today as being God in person. That this grafting, in its first stage, he had a brown race of people from a black people. And it taken him, according to the teachings of God, 200 years to produce that brown race. And he kept up the process of killing off the browner or the darker one and marrying the lighter one onto the lighter one. For another 200 years, he had a yellow race of people. And in this length of time, these brown people were spreading over the area, I would say migrating over the earth to find them a home to themselves. And so when the yellow race was produced, he started too migrating over the earth. And from the yellow race, about 200 years, this grafting kept in process. There was on this same islet, well, it was an islet he was on, according to the teachings of Almighty God to me, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. At that time, 200 years, keeping up birth control law. This is what he established. He established it on this islet, and there was his lab that he was working, we call it a human lab, to produce his man. And from this yellow race, he had a white race 200 years later from them. And this was the end of his work. This was the man he was trying to get to. That was our white race. And that made it in the total time of his grafting out of black, white, 600 years. And this figure tallies with the Bible's teaching of the man being created in 6 days. This days here you have means 100 years each, 600 years. And this also tallies with the creation of the universe. That's 6. The whole entire universe, according to the Quran, was also created in 6 periods of time. And so Mr. Yacub, the mighty scientist of that time, he produced his man on 6, because it did tally with the creation of the universe, and it was to this number that he could not further his work. And they would be masters, gods, to rule the earth and the people, everything of life, for 6,000 years. And at the end of 6,000 years, the Aboriginal people will have at that time produced another one, mightier than Yacub in wisdom and knowledge. And he would be equal with that one that created the heavens and the earth. And he would have the power and the infinitive wisdom to make his word be as the first one.
All right, family. So that was the conclusion of, and let me open Brother Window back up. That was the conclusion of the Yacub story, and it appears towards the end of that story, the last person you heard was actually the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So anybody familiar with his particular teachings also know that he discussed the story of Yacub as well. So again, so that is another story that's a part of the creation myth, in the sense of explaining how the different races came into play and what was Yacub's motive. So I'll pause to let Sis, you or Brother Window put something on it.
I'm just trying to just tie all of the stories into each other. That's what I'll be thinking about. Okay, so when he was talking about the graft, and I'm thinking about Enki. Okay, was Enki doing? Okay, was India? Okay, who was doing that grafting? And so I'm thinking Enki. You know, it's got to be some correlation with these names and these new Yacub and Enki in there, you know. So I try to find. I'm looking for that connection in that.
And see, this is how
playing the same thing.
Right, and this is how I see it. I see it that, you know, it is a story that keeps repeating itself. So, you know, it started in the far-off galaxy, like the Star Wars movies say, in a galaxy far, far away. So grafting and stuff did just not start on this planet. They have been doing it for billions of years. So they were grafting different beings beside what we know as the human form. So it was just simply that particular science was simply just brought to this planet, passed down either through the genes, bloodlines, or some type of physical documents or scientific documents passed down to people. And so different scientists just kept using it to keep manipulating the genes or what they call grafting people. So that's the way I look at it.
And not only were they doing that, but the royals were actually being reanimated, which means they were being brought back to life. Okay,
that is a very good point.
Yes, they were being reanimated, and only the royals would be reanimated if they were ever caught in a war or battle or something. As long as they could bring a body back, they could reanimate them.
That's a very good point. And to this day, that's why they are still so fascinated with genes and the Genome Project. I just saw something today where they were saying that they're pretty much begging people to not be so sensitive about giving up your DNA so it can be studied. And I just bust out laughing. I said, here we go all over again. You all trying to
research.
Yeah. And on the one hand, they're doing it to look for the true royal bloodline, the God particle. They trying to crack that code. That's on the one hand. And then on the other hand, it's to see if they think that they can graft. Now, remember, as we went through these different ancient texts, and even with the story of Yacub, there's always consequences for them messing with the genetic code, thinking that they can add a God particle to something. There's always that downside and that curse behind folks messing with something that they really have no authority to do.
Yeah, because it fails every time. Because I think I did say that it kept getting weaker and it wasn't working, or whatever he was trying to do, which makes me think he was trying to give something that they could not hold within their biology.
Right, because I think it's Dr. Layla Africa. I don't know why this popped in my mind that, he said when you alter the original chemistry, you when you take away from the original chemistry of something, it will never be the same.
Copy.
Exactly. It'll never be the same. Absolutely. It'll never be the same. You'll never match the strength of that original bloodline or that original strand per se.
It's a science, people. Science.
Absolutely. And it's the divine portion that they always miss, and they don't have the authority to add that divine portion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
All these stories are connected, because they all go back further and further and further, but they're actually talking about the same thing. And I'm in the 6th tablet of the Book of Enki, and almost to the 7th. So I had to stop because I ran across another name.
Of course.
Another name. The name is Mengish Zeta. This was one of Enki's sons. And nobody has ever talked about this character, but he had a very active part in the beginning of those experiments. And I'm trying to find out some more information on him because nobody ever talked about him. See, it wasn't Enki that was actually doing the experiment in the beginning. That was his son and Ningasong.
Right, his sister.
Yeah.
So you saying it wasn't Enki at first?
No, it was his son. It was his son and Ningasong that was doing it.
Yeah, because that Dr. York, he don't say his son, but he definitely says his sister because, matter of fact, he said the sister was the head scientist.
Yeah, she was. She was.
So she was really the one that cracked the code to come up with the functioning being, because what was being created before would die off real quick. The gene wasn't strong, this, that, and the third. So she was the head scientist. But I never heard about Enki's son, so that's an interesting factor.
Yeah, and to talking about Ninasar, I think from what I read in the tablet, the real reason they brought her in, other than her being the top geneticist or scientist, is Enlil was against the whole thing. And by her having a son with Enlil, she persuaded him to go along with it. They even took it all the way back to Nibiru with Anu to get it approved. But she had persuaded them to okay it. Because their deal was this: we have been endowed with this knowledge and all this experience, then we should be able to use it. Now, that's just me paraphrasing, but that's what the general conversation was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Well, okay, we're going to open the phone lines, give the family a chance to put something on it. I know we threw a lot of information out at you, so.
Hey, Rhonda. I got one more thing to speak to.
Sure thing.
This is what Ninasar was saying at the beginning of the sixth tablet. Because they had Enki. See, nobody else knew what Enki had found on the planet. He had found this being that was already there. And his plan was to use that being to create the primitive worker, the Lulu. And this is what she said. Eons ago on Nibiru, our predecessors like that might have been. It's a being and not a creature. And to behold, it must be a thrill. They had never seen it, but Enki knew it. That's why he wanted to create that primitive worker, by taking a piece of their essence and putting it in it and upgrading it.
Interesting. And very, very interesting. Wow.
And, it's all talking about the same people.
It's talking about the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah. And what I can see, and I could be wrong with 16 left shoes, but different cultures are telling this story a different way.
Yes, and that very
like
well
Mark,
could be it.
Like Mark, Luke, and Matthew.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well could be the same story told in a different way depending on the culture. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to open the phone lines. So if you have a question, comment, dial *6, hit *6 rather, to get in the queue if you want to join the conversation if you have a question. So that was that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. The first caller is 216. 216, your line is open.
Greetings, family.
Greetings.
Sister T.
Hey, T, you kind of faint there, sweetie.
Okay, I'll try to boost it up, but I just wanted to say that you ladies are, as always, you all are dropping it. And it is really an eye-opener. There was something that was said, and it made me think about that passage in the Bible. I was trying to find it, but I can't find it. He who adds to it or takes away from it.
It shall be damned.
Excuse me. Something that you all were saying there, and that came across my spirit.
Very good point. Very good passage to bring into it.
And another thing, I have to say this, please let me. I was one of the ones who, when my father made his transition, I didn't know. I did not know. I had to drop my head and a tear fell from my eye because I was telling my father to go to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had a candle lit. I had a candle lit in our home at that time. And I was telling him to go to the light. And I feel so bad now that I told him that. And I'm just praying to Father Yah that he interceded some kind of way so that my father wouldn't have to go do, what you guys were speaking about.
Right, right. And don't feel, bad, beloved, because we all were taught that doctrine, and the good thing about it is that whole entire curse has been lifted.
Yes.
It's been lifted. So it really doesn't matter now. It's been lifted, and that's what the whole 2012 was about the energies lining up. Father Yah and the galactic force taking back control. And that's when the prophecy sweeps through. And that's why when you read in the Bible, and when Dr. Henderson said this, I jumped up out of my seat when he said, we thought the Bible code, or it was taught that the Bible code was saying that it was 2,000 years of rule. No, that meant the year 2000 that the Son of Man would return or come into power. And then 2 years after that, that's when the 2012, where the actual energies started shifting. So don't feel bad, beloved, because it's all in divine order anyway.
Yeah. I would like to also further encourage her, Rhonda. Don't feel bad about that, because remember this one thing. These people who have been in power, they operate upside down and backwards. So you were taught and indoctrinated to think about going to the light, which is backwards, upside down. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just didn't know what you were being taught, but now you know.
Right. And another thing now, it made me think about the passage that says, and yea, though you may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, okay, which is that darkness. Fear no evil.
Yeah.
Fear no evil.
So that's a blessing too. And then another thing, I'm not going to hog, then another thing, you mentioned, and Brother Wendell, that Van Diesel Chronicles of Riddick. I tried to watch that movie, but I didn't. I just had no concept of the movie. I didn't. I tried to watch it though. I did.
Yeah.
I just really
maybe Pitch Black first. Start with Pitch Black and then go to the Riddick.
Yeah. You have to watch. You have to watch them all. It's like a sequence.
Oh, I didn't know anything about a pitch.
Yeah, look for Pitch Black. That's the first one. The first one will help you. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, just do this. Just get everything on Vin Diesel. Check it out.
Right.
Yeah, they always put him in that part.
He's coming out with that with this new
Black
one.
Witch.
It's this current one, the 2015-2016, is the last witch hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I'm like, why is Van Diesel?
Exactly.
Come on.
This part. Why is he playing this? Doing all of these. Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting.
Absolutely.
We know who he is.
Yeah,
okay.
we know who he is and what they're really telling us, but we have to be looking at.
I'll give you a hint. I've seen a picture of him recently with a small hat on. You know who the small hats are, don't you?
No, sir.
The fake Jews.
Oh, the small hat. The small. I'm like, what is he talking about? The small hat.
Some little hats they have on.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So they putting it right in plain sight, saying, telling you this is really who the real Hebrews are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting. Wow.
One more thing before I let you all go. Now, I can go to Facebook. I think I said this before. You all going to make me go to Facebook because I didn't want to be there, but you all going to make me go. So I got to go to Facebook, and then how do I connect with, you guys on the Facebook, and is there an email to which I can communicate with either one of you three spirits, and then I'm going to get on out the way?
Yeah, you can go to the main Truth Uncompromised Facebook page.
Okay.
And then hit me up via email, and then inbox. Yeah, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, dear. Well, you know what? I love you all. I love you all so much for bringing the extraterrestrial light, the galactic light. Thank you so much.
Love you too, sis.
And you, Brother Wendell. You're a sweetheart too. Thank you all so much, and peace and love to you.
Okay, peace and love to you, sis. Okay, the next caller is 254. I think this is my beloved Simeon.
I'm a sweetheart. I didn't know that.
Rise and shine, beloved family. How are you all doing? Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. One heart, one mind, one spirit.
Peace and love to you, beloved.
Greetings to the family out there. Yeah, I just wanted to bring a little news on what's happening on my side, and I'd like to make another point as well. And in history, we know that October 22nd, 1844 was known as the time of the cleansing of the sanctuary, with William Miller having the prophecy of the 2300 days. And so that day was called the Great Disappointment, but in the Seventh-day Adventist movement and Branch Davidian and Davidian movement, October 22nd has been known like the day of the cleansing of the sanctuary. And so on October 22nd, 2014, Dr. Henderson had declared that the tyrant at the branch, who was the branch movement, who had been persecuting Mother Ophelia and I, Dr. Henderson declared that he was a tyrant and on the same list with all the other tyrants. And so he has been pleading and giving everybody their year. It's the year of the redeemed, the year of Jubilee, that throughout that period that men are to repent of their sins. And so it's the year of Jubilee, the year of the redeemed, but it's the year of visitation. So everybody is being judged. We all are being judged. And so today, as of twilight today, that ends a full year. And so it might seem like what Dr. Henderson is doing might be slow for some people, but according to the prophecy, everything has to be fulfilled. So next time you could ask him, what about the tyrant? Because all the judgments are set on schedule. So we have to observe these prophecies and know that, God is right on time. He might not show up the way we want him to, but he'll show up right on time. So
right on time.
Be patient. We have to be patient. We have to step out of the way and let the Son of Man do his work, And that was what on the little in-house news I wanted to bring. So today gave that full year. And so the World Court judges today have been sitting on this making this decision on what's happening to the tyrant. So that's what I will leave it on that, since we are waiting for the final we know what the result is already. So, but I'll let the doctor announce it himself. But I'm just telling you that we have to be patient. We know, and we give the doctor his time to do his work. And so we can sit back, relax, and eat our popcorn. Okay, that is what I wanted to share. Then the next point I would like to share is that as you were discussing tonight, you mentioned Yacub. Well, if you study the Hebrew alphabet, you would say Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pe, Sadi, Kof, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tau. There was no J. So Yacub, but you have Aleph, Vez is the Aleph alphabet, but they say my ABC, but they say the Aleph, Vez. But Aleph, Bet is Bet and Vez. So B with the dagesh or dot in the middle is like V. So when you see, they tell you Jacob, but you have Y-A-C-O-V. That B is a V in Vez, Aleph, Vez, A-B, the Aleph, Bet. Aleph, Bet, alphabet, but it's Aleph, Vez in the modern Hebrew. But you'll get to understand that out of Jacob, Yacub had to have his name changed to Israel, and like master scientist, and out of that, the tribe of Judah comes forth, and we have the common.
I should have known, Simeon, I was gonna bring it.
And when you study the last point you were making in that book, the last presenter before you came to Q&A, it was making the transition, so you'd see that there would be someone who would be emerging to come forth as that master scientist, that one who would, tie it all together. So you were given a prophecy on Dr. Henderson as the true anointed one, and you kind of missed that. But when you take back that last statement you made, you'll see how it all ties up in there. And so that's what I wanted to share with the family tonight. So may God bless and keep each and every one of you, and thanks for your time.
Brother Simeon.
Hello, Brother Wendell.
How you doing?
Pretty good, and yourself?
I'm all right as long as you chime in. I'm doing good. I got a question I want to ask you.
Okay.
Where I'm from, on our daddy's side of the family, we always call his daddy Big Daddy. Can I call you Big Daddy?
I kind of missed that. Could you repeat, please?
I said on where I'm from, we call our grandfather on the daddy's side of the family Big Daddy. Can I call you Big Daddy? Because you got that wisdom just like that.
Well, praise to Yah be the glory. He's the source. Yah is the source, and as we tap into his connection, the wisdom is going to flow, and I sat at the feet of the good doctor, and so I would be like Nicodemus coming by night, and he would teach me. So that's how I learned stuff from Dr. Henderson and putting it together. So I'm just a reflection of the obedience, and I see the truth in what he's saying. So we always have a chance to be at the round table. So, when I say the round table, I mean the right table, the circular table where we can see each other's face. That's what I mean. The table, round, R-O-U-N-D, round table.
Absolutely. Well, love you much, Brother Simeon.
I love you, Simeon.
Love, peace, true freedom, and justice. One heart, one mind, one spirit, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Simeon. Love you much.
Great. Peace and love.
Woo! See, that's that disciple. He has been anointed the disciple. Now, let me, before I know I'm not going to forget, but he said something that's been chilled through it, sister, when said, when you speak of Yacub, you got to remember the Hebrew alphabet. Did that not that brother ran through the alphabet and reminded us there is no letter J in the Hebrew alphabet. So could not the Yacub be referring to the Jacob, which is the Hebrew line? Messed me up. Totally messed me up.
Hey, that's Big Daddy. That's Big Daddy.
Ooh.
Big Daddy
you know he gonna bring it.
You hear me?
Yes, he will bring it every time. I love it.
Totally messed me up. So again, it was nothing but code for that particular Yahweh bloodline, doing what they weren't supposed to be doing of the bloodline of Jacob. Hence, Yacub never would have made that connection.
Right.
That was deep.
That's Big Daddy. That's Big Daddy. That's Big Daddy. How could nobody say?
Perfect sense. Right. It makes perfect sense. And then the other thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There was no Jesus, either. That was not his name.
Right.
That was not his name. So that would be considered, everybody praise Jesus. That's a falseness right there.
Right.
Well, you know what, Taylor? You are out of the Holy Tablets. You talked about the origin of that name and wasn't realizing. I don't believe, because you were talking about Yacub. Jesus is a derivative of that name, and that name is thousands of years older than that one.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And then the other thing that he mentioned about, how this particular day, October 27th, marks a point in time, and, how this time last year, Dr. Henderson has some cleaning up and declaration to do, and how now we are in the time of judgment and in the time of Jubilee. And as he's talking about this date and telling us to be patient, everything is happening, I thought of Dr. Henderson saying, Uriel blowing the trumpet, sounding the trumpets. He's been sounding the trumpets. We all know what that means. If you go back to the scriptures and you read about when the angels sound the trumpets, that is the time of judgment.
Yeah. Now I want to reiterate something that I said probably maybe 3 or 4 calls ago. That is proof of what I said. Out of all the research and all the studying and all the stuff that has gone on over the years, everybody's timeline that they set up is gone. It don't work. The timeline, they screwed. Forget that. It's impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, the Son of Man, number one, all of the seals have been opened. You don't know what I'm talking about, go to Revelations. You'll learn what I'm talking about. The second part of it, he said the Bible code has been cracked. He was the one that cracked it. As soon as he said that, I picked back up the book and started reading it, and I'll be doggone now, I understand it. Like, it's nothing for me to read through it and be like, what? No, they didn't. What? Yep. Stop that playing, because he, the Son of Man, this is the time that we're in, that code has been cracked. So we're saying all that to say, family, as Brother Wendell just mentioned, we have to be very careful how we think we are calculating time in this realm, and we want things to move on our time schedule. It don't work that way.
That's right.
Number one, our time schedule was off from the start. The time has been so manipulated, upside down, turned, flipped sideways. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be following time based on the constellation, based on the stars, and we stopped following that. So again,
Absolutely.
Don't worry about man's timeline because it's been false and faulty from the start. They did it because they did not want you to know when you are in the final end days. They did not want you to know when prophecy is being fulfilled. They did not want you to know when the battle of Armageddon is jumping off. And if you don't believe me, go to any church across this country and you sit there and you show me one preacher that's telling you that you're currently witnessing the battle of Armageddon.
You're preaching prosperity.
I invite him to the call.
Rhonda,
Yes,
speaking of the seals, for those callers out there who haven't heard Dr. Henderson tell the people this, they already have gotten the seal by which everything is going to be validated.
Yes, yes, he did say that. I hope people were paying attention.
They already have that seal in their possession.
I hope people are paying attention. And, you know, and 316 Sugar Pie, I see you. We're coming to you. And remember, Brother Wendell, last week when we were discussing the Battle of Armageddon, and as I was doing the research and as I sit here telling the story, you know the symbol that keeps flashing before my eyes is the symbol on the SOV CPR site.
Which one?
With the sword.
I know which one you're talking about.
Symbols on the side. And Dr. Henderson told us that was a sacred symbol, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. They knew when he posted that symbol on that site, they already knew what time it was.
Excalibur time.
They already knew that this is the Son of Man who has the throne, and this is judgment time. This is the sword of the Battle of Armageddon.
I would like to make a point to that also, London, for the listeners. Now, under the new system, there won't be no such thing as trials. It's going to be straight judgment. Ain't going to be no decisions. Ain't going to be no decisions made about nothing. Ain't nothing coming down but judgment. Because if you go back, if you go back into the book, that's what was coming down or supposed to be coming down, but they perverted it. They perverted it and came with trials and decisions instead of coming with judgment. Because remember, when Moshe or Moses, or however you want to pronounce it, came down from the mountains with the law, and they were already breaking the law, there was no trial. Immediately, those angels came and they killed about 3,000 right there on the spot. That was judgment. There wasn't no trial.
Dang, that's a good point.
So get that in your thick skulls, people, that you got to get on the right side of things and learn how to do this now. Learn how to govern yourself, because if somebody goes to the world court with a complaint against you, then if you can be proven to be guilty of that, it ain't going to be no trial. It's going to be straight judgment.
Straight.
And I do remember, that's a good point that you're bringing up, because I do remember, and I kind of chuckled on it. I really shouldn't have chuckled, but the reason I chuckled was the way that Dr. Henderson said it, because he was kind of, I could tell he was reading somebody's mind on the phone that thinks they was getting over. And because out of the blue, he said, yeah, and the pit will remain open.
Right.
I said, whoa. I kind of chuckled, and the reason I chuckled to say, okay, whoever that was thinking y'all slick, he putting you on notice that the pit is going to remain open. So that backs up what you're saying, brother, that it's going to be straight judgment. So when, we go into the new system, what we have to realize, first of all, it ain't going to be none of this, you going to traffic court.
No.
Because you owe this citation.
Right.
We're not talking about standing before the world court over no bull crap, because all of that is going to be abolished anyway. We're talking about you breaking one of the ecclesiastic laws.
Right.
That's what you're going to be judged on.
Yep. So,
very good point.
So this is my last point to this. So listeners, if you don't think you're going to be able to live under this law, I would suggest you get with these other folks that trying to get off the planet, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to either abide by the law of this planet, or you got to leave this planet.
I don't personally know where they're going, but okay. I mean,
you already said it.
Well, I mean, I know it's the pit, via Antarctica or Arizona, but if they're talking about coming up off of here, I don't know where they're going. But okay, if you feel that's an option.
If they don't want to deal, if they don't want to be in the game, they're gonna have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You're gonna be off this planet one way or another.
Right. You will not be occupying this land.
Period.
Wow. Okay.
And they talk about on the. Okay, go ahead. We got one more call.
No,
go ahead.
Then we'll
they had mentioned something on the news about the big black hole in the sun. I think it was last week or sometime earlier this week. They mentioned this coronal hole that was the biggest they had ever seen.
And remember, folks, the sun is a generator. It is a generator. It's not no hot, fiery ball as they sit up and claim. And I heard Dr. Henderson say that we are part of the energy that helps that sun generate.
Yeah.
And so it also makes sense now that we heard out of the Book of Enoch that the winds is what helps turn the sun and the heavens.
Yeah. I'm glad you made that point about it being a generator. Now let me ask this question: Have y'all seen the video out there where there was something that was right next to the sun, and it was sucking energy, and then it backed off when it got filled?
Yeah, you could go on YouTube, and actually I had that in my notes for the AO Holy Tablets, because it talks about Nibiru having solar panels and stuff on it, and as it passes through these galaxies, it gets its energy from the sun. So absolutely, you see these videos out there where you see these little specks. And I think, sis, you posted one where you personally took, and we blew it up and saw little specks.
Well, you know what? Yesterday when we were out at the water, my sister got a clear picture of a ship, and it is so beautiful. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, because the sun is a generator, and, it pulls, these ships are, going up to the sun, getting a little energy, and that's why they call the highly melanated people the children of the sun, because the sun gives us energy, and we give the energy sun. So it is a generator.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's not what they're telling you that it is. So, okay, 316, let me get to you, Sugar. 316, your line is open.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, this is Tom in Kansas. Have you ever looked up the origins of the word sin? S-I-N?
But you explain it to us.
Okay, well, some say it's a social insurance number. But also it came from archery, and it meant miss the target.
And I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, it came from archery, and it was from missing the target. So how many people in these corporate churches are completely missing the target?
Missing the target.
Because they don't listen to their heart brain. They listen to their head brain. They're stuck in that ego. Oh, my God is better than your God. And then they keep falling right back on that merry-go-round. I saw this funny cartoon on email the other day. And this guy's riding on a pony, and he has a straight drop-off on his right. And right in front of him, he's chasing an elephant, and right behind him, he's got a tiger, and next to him, he's got a leopard, and it says he's in a dangerous position. What's the safest thing to do? And it says at the very bottom, when you scroll down, get off the merry-go-round.
I know that's right, Tom.
Get off. Come out of her.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just didn't know if anybody else had heard that sin was from archery.
No, I've never heard the archery.
Yeah, it was from missing the target.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you so much, Tom. Peace and love. Okay, family, so that was the last caller. I know we kept you all a little bit extra tonight, so I hope it wasn't too much information for you all. So, Brother Wendell, did you have any closing words for the family?
Just pay attention to what's going on around you. And if you haven't done so yet, start practicing on governing yourself.
Yes.
After, and another thing, but not to minimize it, but to give it the recognition that it deserves. Get yourselves under that 501c4.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sis, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah, I want to speak from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. And in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. That's Proverbs 3, 5 through 7. So just look for the guidance of the Most High. He will direct you where you need to go. Have trust to keep your faith up high. Stay positive and in love always.
Absolutely. Great scriptures, sis. Great scriptures. And family, I just, want to leave you all with, I just love the feedback or the last words from Sis Saida as well as Brother Wendell and Brother Simeon to say, family, we're already where we need to be. Just sit back with your popcorn, get it popped, and just watch the show. Because it is a show. Pay attention. It is literally happening right before your eyes. Long as you've done what you were supposed to do, you've gotten a word out there, you put yourself on the list, you told who you put the word out there, those who want to listen or are supposed to hear it, they're going to get it. The rest is already done.
Yes.
So, did want to leave you with those words. Also, just as a reminder, tomorrow is the UN call at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and then the Global Network update, it is at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Check SOV CPR site for the details. And next Thursday, Dr. Henderson will be with us. So I always tell the family, we be jam-packed. I mean, easily we have a minimum, our numbers, of 200 folks. So get up in the queue early. You know how they be clowning. So get up in the queue early. Get yourself positioned to get your questions ready for Dr. Henderson. He will be with us next Thursday coming up. And just don't forget about, I think Sis Lioness is going to do a show Saturday night. She's been either starting it up at 8 o'clock or 8:30. So when I get
8:30.
Okay, it's 8:30. Okay, I couldn't remember. I know she said it may vary. So I will get the call-in information and stuff out to you all once she sends it to us. And then Monday, Sis Linda, Sis Denise, and Sis Beverly will be back with Prophecy at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the same conference call number and passcode. So with that, family, I want to say thank you very much. I hope that you got a lot out of tonight. And we're going to rock out with some music. Peace, love, truth, freedom, and justice.
Nightfall, beloved.
Nightfall, family.